Good morning, everybody. It is a nice, bright, sunny, yet cold day. Last time I looked at my temperature for the area, which was about, I don't know, half an hour or so ago, it was 26 degrees, but felt like 16. So basically, because of the winds and time of the season and whatnot, it feels 10 degrees colder than it really is. So I'm like, glad I don't have to do anything outside the house today. Tomorrow, I have to go to St. Louis. Jerry's doctor's appointment to see how her leg is doing. I would like them to take a look at everything and see if she can get out of that brace, because that brace is, I know why they have her in the brace, but the thing is, when it pinches against her hips, causing nerve issues, causing leg issues, pain of one form or another because of the pinching, it's like, couldn't they make it a little bit more to her? Granted, when they measured her, she was still her regular old size, but she has lost weight and shrunk down in her belly area. They need they need to remeasure and get her a new brace that's going to fit her properly. So it's kind of like, yeah. And we don't have any kind of material. Well, I don't think we have any materials to make a cushion area against her hips and under her arms, so it's not like pinching. It's a little bit softer. It's not hard plastic or whatever you call it against her skin. You know, especially since in the underarm area is where the two pieces overlap and connect. And if her arm is not in the way, when we go to tighten it onto her, it pinches her underarm. Besides that, her having to wear that brace for 6 months when she's sitting upright, anything above a 30-degree angle, she has to have that brace on. Now, me, if it was pinching and whatnot like it is for her, I would have either gone to the doctor and said, hey, look, this is not working for me. You got to figure out something better, because if it continues to pinch my arm or cut off my circulation at the hip, you're going to find this thing up somebody's rump, because it ain't working for me. I mean, I know the young lady came in and measured her hips, her belly, her chest to get, measurements, and they even did. They even had the sliding thing to go up, to see how wide to make it, I guess you'd say, or how deep to make it. She took all these measurements and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, cool. They're gonna make it where it fits her body. I don't think they took into account the possibility of weight loss and shrinkage and comfort and all that fun stuff. I know it's not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be, helpful. But if it's not comfortable, how helpful is it? But I know for me, even though it would be a real pain in my rumpus, it'd probably drive me crazy if I had to wear that thing and not be able to function the way I want to function, because I'm limited to my movement due to this brace. I know how limiting a simple back brace is, because I've had to wear a back brace every so often because of my lower back being a problem, and my job has me bending and stooping and carrying and all that fun stuff, and I would not be able to do my job in a body brace like she's got. It's hard enough with a back brace, because you've got a restraint around your gut and you're trying to bend It's hard enough doing that. But she's not doing so good today. She's having a lot of leg pain, right leg pain. She's having so much pain that she's literally breaking out in tears. So I'm just like, okay, I can tell by the sound, the way she's moving, her facial expressions, all the things that are just like, this is not her just trying to get attention. This is the real deal. So I pay attention to that. I know she's not faking it. Of course, we had a nice little discussion. She was talking to me about a bunch of her comments that she was getting, and how people are thinking that she's faking cancer and she's faking all the things that are going on. And I'm like, one, I don't know how you fake that kind of stuff. I really don't. Two, with all the doctors and all the time that she's put in with doctors and hospital visits or hospital stays and rehab stay and dealing with this body brace and stuff that she would not normally do on her own accord, especially since that brace hampers her bending. And I mean, come on, she's got scars to prove that she's had surgery, and they're fresh. They're not from bygone era, from her youth or something like that. This is a real deal. I mean, out of all the things that I know about that she's bent or twisted a little bit just to get by, but aches and pains and cancer, and between the unfortunately we did not get a disc back, but she had all her medical reports, all the films, all the x-rays and scans and all that fun stuff on a disc that she had to get. She had to give the disc to, was it here or was it in St. Louis? But she had to give the disc to one of the doctor's offices that she had to go visit, and they kept it because they don't make copies of it. So she couldn't get multiple discs to basically look at it anytime she wanted to, but that's fine because we don't have a DVD ROM drive anymore on our computers. Well, maybe I could rehook up my old Alienware computer and see if it's still registered or worked, because I haven't used it in such a long time. But yeah, I mean, this is not something we would joke about on any given day. It's not a joke. Just like I have a high chance of becoming diabetic or having heart problems due to my triglyceride levels, because it's all part of my genetics. Just like she couldn't help it when she got diabetes. It kind of ran in her family. All her sisters have had thyroid cancer, and she's the only one to get the worst kind of cancer. This is not a joking matter to us. You know, if there are people out there who think we're joking around or pulling their chains or whatnot, well, sorry you feel that way, but that's not the truth. The truth is she has stage 4 cancer in her kidney. She's got not tumors, but cancerous cells on her bones. I haven't seen a bill yet, and I hope to God I never do, but the only bill we've gotten so far that we're disputing is the ambulance ride from the hospital to the rehab center. It's the only bill we've gotten so far that is just kind of like, why is this not being covered by our insurance? You know, why isn't it being covered by whatever we have coverage for? Maybe we don't have coverage for ambulance rides. I don't know. Maybe it's a third party outside of our insurance that we have to deal with. You know, I don't know how, I don't know, but yeah. And it wasn't that big of a, I don't even remember the numbers on the bill, but I just kind of saw the bill and went, what the, why is our insurance not covering this? Some insurances don't cover ambulance rides. And we can't get Medicaid or Medicare because, one, we're not over 60, and two, and I can't remember if it was Medicaid or Medicare, but one of them basically in their stipulations said that you cannot earn over $2,000 a month. I don't know anybody that can live off of 2,000, was it 2,000 a month or 2,000 a week? I don't remember. If it was 2,000 a week, that's not a problem. I barely earn 1,000 a week. Close to 2,000, like $1,900. Yeah, about 1,700 a month or a week paycheck every other week. I don't remember. I have to go back and get one of my pay stubs, but between her YouTubes, my YouTubes, and my job, we might earn. Sorry, my mustache is trying to tickle my nose. We might earn. Yeah, we'll definitely earn over 2,000 a month. No, those numbers aren't right. No, anyhow, but I basically, to get either Medicaid or Medicare, or whatever one it was that I was reading up on, when we were trying to file for it, I would have to stop working my job and probably stop doing YouTube, or she would have to do only one YouTube channel, and between the two of us, we'd have to be careful how much we make. Otherwise, we don't qualify for it, basically. And I know one of them, I think it's Medicaid, that, no, I don't remember which one it is, so I'm not going to worry about it. But the point is, we can't get it because we make too much for one of them, and the other one is she's not old enough. She's not 60 or older, and I'm like, what about looking into, because she's got it and I now have it, but AARP, which we now have, or we know now have membership for because of our age. So I'm like, I'm sorry, my nose is like really, really getting irritated by my hairs. Yep, especially this one. Oh, you little bugger. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that in camera, but that hair was really irritating my nose. But we're dealing with what we can, how we can, with what we've got. Now, the biggest problem I have is in the factor of how much we're paying towards whatever, or how much we're covered by insurance. My biggest thing is, okay, her surgical team they're the ones that really have to deal with the leg problem, are all the way in St. Louis. I cannot run her to St. Louis every other week just because of aches and pains. So we have to figure out what's going on here in town. She has the one doctor that's only in this area once, maybe twice a week. But the problem is we don't know what days. So trying to get in to see him because he's the, as he put it, the quarterback dealing with her cancer or her surgical people. Granted, his main office is in Lebanon, and that's not hard to get to. I did that once. So it's one of these things that's like, well, our primary is here in town. The radiation people are here in town. The one doctor who calls himself the quarterback of the group that's basically working with Jerry's her surgery and cancer operations. We can only see him once. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say it once in a blue moon. And the actual surgery doctor and team are all the way in St. Louis. Now it's kind of like one of those. Yeah, I can only do what I can only do. I mean, I'm trying my best, but sometimes your best is not good enough because of the situation. Now, I'm not an on-hands type person, but I've read enough books to understand what's going on. And, well, the one thing I can't figure out yet, because after, all these medical books that I've borrowed from Mom, they're more terminology and whatnot for medical transcription. So I'm kind of like, can we put these books in layman's terms? Because all this Latin for the different medical stuff is, huh? I mean, I have an easier time understanding a lot of different other foreign languages, but Latin is one of those languages that I go, I don't speak that. I don't understand it. And I don't mean Latin as in modern day Latin. I mean Latin from when the Romans were, I can't remember the name of the particular person, but he was a citizen of Rome, and he was the one who started Hermes. No, not Hermes. God. Hermes is the god of health. No. Was Hermes the winged messenger, or was that the I don't know. But no, that's the oath, the Hippocratic Oath, which is basically named after the Roman guy that discovered medicine or healing or whatever. And so it's Hippocrates. I don't remember the name now, but we're doing what we can for Jerry's health. I mean, we're trying to make things easier for her. She has the option of putting on her turtle shell and coming out to eat at the dinner table if she feels up to it, or using a rolling table, side table thing like you'd find in the hospital, but looks more homey instead of medical, to eat dinner in bed. Sometimes she'll lay on her side and eat dinner. I just wish she would do more. I mean, I don't want to push her, but at the same time, I don't want her just being laid up. I can understand, when you're not having a good day, that turtle shell is more problematic than beneficial. So I can understand what she's doing. Do I like it? Not really. I really don't. I would like her to be eating at the table with the rest of us, but under her conditions, I don't know what's best for her. If it's best for her to just stay in bed and do whatever, or get up, put the brace on for, I don't know, 20 minutes to eat dinner or whatever, and then take it off and go sit up in bed, as long as she's at a 30-degree angle. I don't know. We're in a chapter of our life where there's a lot of unknowns. We can only go by what the doctors say. We can only go by what we've heard or learned from various medical resources. I mean, you can go online and watch videos from doctors on any one of your ailments or whatever. There's a lot of different websites you can look at for medical information and diagnosis and effects of medication and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I can only do what I can do. I'm only human. But life still goes on. I mean, we've got the office floor done so we can start rearranging furniture, and then we can start going through all her stuff and deciding what she's going to keep and what she's not going to keep. There's some items that she's keeping that I'm like, you're never going to use all those. She goes, I don't know, I might once I start crafting again. Well, you know what? Take half of it, give it away, keep the other half. If you end up using all of the ones you used, we can always go purchase more. But like I said, she's got so many different types of wreath forms that it's like, she's got a bunch of the round ones, she's got a bunch of the ribbon looking ones, she's got a couple of heart ones, a cross one, a square one, like a big frame. I'm glad she only has one of those. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a crafter, so I don't know how these things work, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, anything over 4 is too much. But that's just me, because of practicality and room, space, whatever. I mean, what can you do? It's not my gig. It's not my realm of enjoyment. I've tried being a crafter once before, and I just, between the little itty bitty, procedures that you have to do for certain kinds of crafting, or just getting everything to go in the right place and stay in the right place, I get too frustrated and annoyed by the factor of my hands. No matter what I'm drinking, my hands always shake, even to the slightest degree. I can tell that they're shaking, and that's what makes it hard for me to do certain kinds of crafts. Now, I have a model hanging up. Still, it's hanging up in the craft room. I was thinking about bringing it in here and hanging it up. It's hanging up by fishing wire, so it's kind of hard to see the fishing wire, but you know it's hanging up there. It is a model of the AHR-64 Apache. My father, one of the main reasons why I had that little model, that thankfully it was one of those snap-on models, ones you get for, people who, like me, have problems with glue or steadiness or anything like that. But I got it and put it together mainly because my father worked on the Apache before he passed away. He worked on a lot of different aircraft, or doing a lot of things in his early days when he joined the Air Force. Huey mechanic during Vietnam. Sometime between Vietnam and I don't know when it happened, so I don't know exactly the story, but he had trying to think now. He had a hernia, and they wanted to release him from duty with a, I don't know if it was a Purple Heart or what, but I think he did get a Purple Heart from the government because of his, duty and being harmed, getting hurt, even though it was just a hernia on. Maybe he didn't have a Purple Heart. No, I don't think he did have a Purple Heart. Because if he did, it would be on his plaque that I made, memorial type plaque. That Jerry made it, and I approved it. Because she was like, I want to do something to honor your father. You know, she never met him. She just stories from me and things of that nature. She wanted to basically take his ribbons and the 2 medals that he had and put it in a frame with American flag cloth background, and I think I have to find it to remember it, but she did great, making this memorial display box or pitch frame, however you want to put it. But I thought I saw a purple ribbon, which is supposed to represent the Purple Heart, but I don't remember now because it's been such a long time since I've seen that stuff. It's like, I just know he's got a bunch of ribbons with clusters, Oakley, specialized clusters to mark how his proficiency is in those areas, and da 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 da. And I just kind of went, okay. I don't remember what it all was about. Dad never explained it to me. But yeah, my father had a hernia, and during his 20 years of service, they were going to drum him out. They were going to give him his release because of the medical condition prevented him from doing his regular job, which was basically mechanic. And he said, well, actually, he kind of pushed the subject with his I don't know what to call him now. Wasn't his base commander. It was somebody else that had to deal with part of his discharge. And he convinced his discharge person that he can still function in the military, didn't have to do any heavy duty like work on helicopters and whatnot. He can work in what they call the tool bay. Basically, what the tool bay is where all the tools are stored. For the most part, it was more like they have a messed up torque wrench that needs to be recalibrated. Well, he would sit there at the desk and write out all the information on what needs to be done and hand it off to an actual mechanic. Hand it off to one of the repair people for them to go recalibrate the thing. And that's what he did for the latter part of his career. My probably 15 plus years of, he died before I turned 16. So he had to be doing it for a couple of years before I was born, but all my known life up until he passed away, that's what he did for the military until he retired in 84. And I remember while we were in Germany, they couldn't get a babysitter for me, and nobody wanted. They couldn't find a babysitter. There was no preschool or whatever for me at the time to, hey, nobody can take care of them. Both parents are working. My mom was working with housing. Dad was working his military career, and I couldn't really stay with mom at her job because there would be nothing for me to do. Literally nothing for me to do. And no offense to my mom, but I don't think she was really capable or hands-on with a hyperactive, rambunctious 9, 10-year-old. So Dad took me in because Dad knew how to wrangle me in with just a look. But I remember one summer when I was with Dad. Dad gave me some paper and some pens and pencils to goof off with. I was never that good at drawing. Not until later on in life. But that particular day that I went in, I was sitting at his desk. Dad was in the back with the guys. And out of curiosity, because, you know, you get a curious kid who's just bored with his situation, they're in the back playing darts. Yeah, they're in the back playing darts. Waiting for, you know, an order to come through or a piece of equipment to work on or whatever. But, and I think that they were only doing that because it was their lunch break, basically, because they were eating at the same time. So I guess, you know, hey, lunch break, let's eat and throw darts. I got interested in darts because, you know, watching them do it, and I was like, oh, wow, that looks interesting. But later on that afternoon, before it was time for Dad to go home, they had a torque wrench come in that needed a recalibration. Now, I did not know what a torque wrench was until I saw it, and I went, oh, wow, okay, this is interesting. But one of the guys put the torque wrench on the recalibration board, and basically what it is they have to pull on it or pull on it to see what the problem is, and then do adjustments. Well, the guy that put it up was, you know, as tall as my dad, 5, almost 6 foot tall. And my dad was like, "You think that's interesting? You think that's fun?" Because the way the guy was just bouncing on, you know, holding onto it and bouncing. It's like, sure, yeah, of course. He looks like he's, you know, playing around, not doing a job because, you know, didn't know nothing. So they're like, all right, go over there and jump on it. And I'm like, I can't reach this, too high. And they, you know, what was the guy's name? Was it Dave or Frank? I think it was Dave, because for some reason Dave always rings in my head. But Dave picked me up. I grabbed onto the bar. He let me go, and I'm just sitting there hanging from the thing as the little needle is bouncing around. And I wasn't strong enough, let alone being able to touch, not able to touch the ground, and skinny as a rake. But it was interesting to see how they work with the torque wrenches and try to recalibrate them and all. Ooh. Sometimes if Dad said the only reason why Dave was pulling on it the way he was is because the machine that's supposed to do it for them needed a part that they didn't have, and they were waiting for the part to come in, which could take forever. Because basically the part was a type of rubber, like industrial strength rubber band that hooks to a machine, that you hook it onto the handle of the torque wrench, and it's supposed to slowly, you know, pull on it to help you calibrate it, so somebody doesn't have to, you know, because these torque wrenches are designed to work on everything: aircraft, helicopters, tanks, heavy machinery. Basically, it's designed to help, you know, make sure the torque is right on the machine. But Dave was like, God, he was he was 6'2", 6'3", and just by remembering his size, he had to be 250 plus pounds of pure muscle. I mean, this guy had no fat whatsoever. I mean, he was just pure muscle. And I was just like impressed by the fact that he's like, most of the other guys can barely get this thing to move. He's just like, geez, what is he doing? Curls with the torque wrench? But he was one of the fun guys we worked with. In fact, there was 3 or 4 guys that lived in the same base housing unit that we lived in, and they started, they started their own little bluegrass band called One and Only Crowd, or One in Every Crowd, not One and Only, but One in Every Crowd. And they did, they got together one night for, it was basically amateur night at the, I forgot what place it was, but it was on base. I don't know if it was the rec hall or what, but they were one of 2 groups that, and I mean groups like not just one person playing a guitar or something like that, but they did bluegrass music. It was, oh man, I can't remember their names. It's been so long. 40 plus years. Let's see here, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I was about 11 or 12 when we left. See, 84. So if it was 84, we came back to the States. No, it was 83 when we came back to the States. So I was about 12 years old. But they played, some of the greatest bluegrass music I've ever heard. And I wish I would have kept that cassette tape that they gave us from that one night. But they played Smoky Mountain Breakdown, Dueling Banjos. I can't remember the other songs that they played that were bluegrass back then. But it was fun times. I like to think about fun times. Cheers me up. But getting back to today. Today's going to be an interesting day because if we use FaceTime for me to set up the room's furniture, unless Jerry feels like trying to get into the room to help me out, she won't be much help except for sitting there going, put that there, put this there, put it. Okay. But I'm more than willing to do that, just to set up the furniture. As for bringing her stuff back in there for her to deal with, that's a totally different story. Because she's already got a bunch of stuff in there that needs to be taken care of. Because I didn't take it out of the room, I just put it on shelves or wherever I could, just to get it out of my way to get into the closet. She'll probably have to walk me through putting it all back into the closet, so I don't know. We'll see what happens, because parts of me wants to get it done, parts of me just wants to take the day off and goof off. But the problem is tomorrow, granted, we're going into St. Louis for a medical appointment for her, but I'm not going to be doing any work except for driving. And yeah, all that jazz. Not going to be fun. But we'll see, because it might be. I don't know. You can never tell. But, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it. If you guys enjoyed this little video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the question comment box. In fact, I want to put this across. Looks like I'll have to redo the closing on it. But I want to put this across real quick. I have a lot of different adventures, and I've had a lot of different adventures, a lot of different stories about, what I can remember of Germany, my time in Yellowstone, life in general. I mentioned several different times, different places I've been or lived in, or places I've dealt with. Granted, my memory is fading on certain things, especially something as far back as the 80s. I'm lucky sometimes if I can remember the 70s, or not 70s. Yeah, 70s. I don't remember nothing from the 70s. But I'm at the 90s. I can say this much. I've done a lot more than the average person has done in their lifetime. That's only because I got lucky to be born into a military family. Um, Not everybody is lucky enough to be, a member of a military family that gets to travel overseas. I mean, I have friends that told me that when they were younger, they were in Japan for a short period of time, and I would have loved it if we could have been in Japan. I think Japan's got some really beautiful culture and whatnot, but so does Germany. I mean, every country has their own form of their own culture and whatnot, and some people might think it's, oh, that's great, let's do this, let's try to do this another time, or when we're older, whatever. Um, Not everybody gets a chance to do stuff like that. I only remember stories from the Philippines from my parents, um, so I can only go by what they've said and the stories I've heard. But I do remember Germany because I was, like I said, I was in my preteens, early teens. What do you call that area between your adolescence to your teens? There's not the preteens because that's like, well, maybe it's preteens because it's 9, 10, and 11, or 8, 9, 10. 9 when we got there, 11 when we came back. So that's 11, 12 when we came back. But yeah, I can tell you stories about Germany that I remember. I can tell you stories that were stories from my parents when I was younger. I don't mind talking about my life. Otherwise, why would I be on here? But I do talk about other subjects that, as soon as I can clean up this mess of a room, I can start working on reading certain books, things like that. Sometimes I ask you guys for some sort of input of what you want to hear me talk about, out of my interests. I know a lot of my viewers who've been here since the long haul are usually like, whatever you want to tell us, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to read, whatever you want to do. That's great because, that gives me some freedom to decide. But sometimes I want to hear what other people want to hear me talk about that doesn't have to do with my life. Like I said, once I get this mess of a room cleaned up after I get done with the craft room, and the reason why the craft room needs to be done first because there's a lot of stuff that is taking up space that I could be using. That's her glassware and stuff that she has no place for it right now. So, we can talk about nature. We can talk about Native American herbal medicines. We can talk about, what I got up here? Well, there's Mary Summer Rain. There's various books on Vikings. I think that, that group of books might be going bye-byes because either A, I'm not interested in them anymore, or I've read them so many times that I can just skim over pages and know what the story's about. There's one subject that I used to talk about, but it seems to be a sore spot, and that's religion. I know there's been a couple people who don't mind me talking about religion or comparing Christianity to the Old Norse paganism or ways of being. And I know a lot of people think paganism. Why would you want to talk about paganism? Well, there's a lot of misconception about paganism due to, a whole lot of different reasons. Yes, Norse pagans did give blood offerings to their deities, but it was not human sacrifice. It was rare that they gave human sacrifice. Most of the time it was, animal sacrifices. Like for instance, modern day pagans, they will not give blood. They don't do blood sacrifices anymore. It's, let's say they've got an altar set up to Odin. Well, they will give a small portion of raw meat, usually from the first slaughtering of the year, just like like Old Testament Christians. Old Testament, do I call them Jews or just Old Testament Christians? I don't know, but old time in the in the Old Testament they talk about taking the firstborn lamb or the firstborn animal of whatever animal that you happen to be raising. You take that animal to the priests at the tabernacle, and they basically, before it goes in the tabernacle and whatnot, there's a certain group of priests that would that are allowed to basically deal with blood, because back in the old days nobody's supposed, if you were sick and you were bleeding and whatnot, you'd have to go to a special group of people that would deal with your injuries and your blood and whatnot. And but anyhow, the first born animal basically is supposed to go, or your first pickings of the vine or the crops or whatnot, supposed to go to the tabernacle to be offered up as burnt sacrifice to God. Now, pagans did basically the same thing. They'd take their firstborn lamb, goose, goat, cow, whatever animal they had, under their care, and they would take it to their version of a temple or holy place and offer up. They don't burn it; they offer it up as is. A lot of modern day pagans will offer up on their altar to whatever deity small glass of mead or wine or whatever, fresh fruits and fresh fruits or vegetables. Sometimes, depending on where they live and whatnot, they'll offer up like a raw piece of meat, fish, whatever. I've not dealt or delved into that area as of yet, because I'm more interested in their mythology and how they existed and how they lived back then in the histories, or as they used to call them, the sagas. I don't have one in front of me, but I have the poetic or poes Eddas. I don't have any of the sagas. I have Eddas right now. I'd love to get the saga where they talked about there's a book that I saw on Amazon that was called the Saga of Ragnar Lothbrok. He's a real person in the histories. So I was like, ooh, I'd like to get that one just to read about him. There was another one that was about can't remember if it was about Leif Erikson himself or started with Leif Erikson's father, Eric the Red, and then it goes to talk about Leif Erikson. So, that's what I read. I don't practice anything. I just read it for knowledge base. I will say that I do have my roots. I was born and raised pretty much non-denominational Christian. Do I still have ties with the Christian community? Yes. Do I go to a church? No. I can explain why in a later date. But mostly it's personal, a combination of personal and the way I felt about the modern day church. But yeah, I'm pretty much an open book. You ask me what you want to know, and I will try to give you that knowledge or get that knowledge for you. I don't hide nothing. That's why you'll notice that my videos, I've never edited my videos. I leave them raw, turn them into a video for YouTube, put it on YouTube. That's it. No editing, no cutting, no redoing or whatever. And it's not that I don't know how to do that. It's just like I feel like I feel that if I edit my videos, it takes away some information or something that may or may not click with people. So I do my videos as is. So everything you see on YouTube, it's unedited. I've had to learn how to keep myself from going, and turning into a drunken Marine off base. Mean, ornery, cursing left and right. You can take an old trucker and an old Marine, put them in the same room, and they'll challenge each other to see how bad their language will get when pissed off or drunk. What did my cousin used to say? Actually, I used to say it towards one of my in-laws. I had an in-law that I looked at when I first met her. I was just like, man, you can chase a Marine from a bar with that language and that mouth. What's the matter with it? Like, oh my God, truckers don't even curse that bad. But that's New York. I mean, I love my family and whatnot, but I'm not going to say people's names. Some of them I'm just kind of like, no, I can't deal with that today. No, go away. But anyhow, I want to go ahead and cut it off there because it's getting too long. So if you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to hear something in particular off of different subjects I delve into, including gaming, if you're a young gamer, go ahead and ask that question or whatnot in the comment question area. If you're new to my channel and you like what you heard and you want to hear more, or you want to hear a specific subject, you can join. You can basically put your idea or your desired subject in the question box, and then you can jump over and hit the subscribe button. And once you hit the subscribe button, a little bell pop up. Click on that bell, and YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. So until then, or till tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow unless it's late. Till next time, see you guys later. Enjoy. Bye.